episode of Slay. That rhymed because I'm a rapper, apparently. Remember, if you're tuning in after the fact and you see, I was looking at the delayed feed there. Give me a break. Yes, if you see this number to my left, it's a time number. It's a number that manages time. If you want to skip all the talky talk and get right to the chit chat or right to the story, fast forward to 00:00, and you will be in fabulous shape. I'm a little bit blown out, a little washed out, but what are you going to do? Got to bring this audio down a smidge. There we go. That kind of helps. That helps a ton. Hello, everyone. How the heck are you? Where are all my people in my chat rooms? Coming in and say hello and shit. Well, now it's working. What do you know? Let's see who we got. Sean, what's up, my man? Tony, how you doing? Cobalt, hello. It's been a hell of a day at sea, sir. Hell of a day at sea. Brian Leach, how you doing? Abby, what's going on? How you doing? So delighted to see Abby. Abby has had a big career accomplishment recently. Wonderful. Fantastic stuff. Can't wait to hear more. Hi, Don Shipley, Steve the Iceberg, Ricky Berg. How you doing? Going to give it a couple minutes and I'll start going through Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, and Dr. Abby Burrow, PhD. I got so many PhDs up in his fan base. It's crazy. It's just crazy. All right. Recluse Mage in the house. How you doing? Edward Rocco. How are you, sir? Pedro, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. We got people filtering in here on the YouTubes and on the Facebooks. And I did a camera test earlier, a streaming test, and I had messed something up. So the test lasted for about 7 seconds, and 5 seconds in, I realized that I had screwed something up and let out the loudest fuck. It was like I was in Ted Lasso and I was Roy Kent and messed something up. I was able to quickly go delete all of those from the various feeds. But I was angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry. I allowed myself to put myself in that situation myself. 4X would love to stay and participate, but game 5 and the Canes are okay. All right. I believe that is the hockey. It is a great sport, a wonderful sport. 4X, go enjoy yourself. Come back, listen to this after the fact, and enjoy. And of course, everything is always in the podcast feed. Once again, if you're watching the recorded version of this, you don't want to hear all this jibber jab, 00:00, guess what? You go right to the story. Hopefully, we'll see. Tonight's live read is Slay episode 97, Proper Etiquette. I think you'll like it. After the episode on deep cuts, we're talking about an AI company that wants to publish 8,000 books in 2025 alone. Remember, review The Gangster and Slay if you haven't yet on Audible, on Goodreads, on Amazon. That helps us out a ton. You want to stay up to date on things? Boom, boom. We got to go to main for that. Bring that up. Boom, boom. Newsletter. That's right. scottsdale.com/newsletter. I meant to work on one yesterday. It didn't happen. Sometimes these things happen, which is why the best thing you can do if you want to stay up to date on things is text SIGTEXT to 855-955-5095. Over 1,000 people on that now. It's very, very nice, very humbling. Really like it. And when you do sign up, if you haven't signed up already, you get 10% off anything in the store that we ship. So that's going to be great. YouTubers, click like, you know what to do. Ring that bell. And also subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, you should be. Warning. Now listen to this, people. Listen to this. Critical warning. We've got a con coming up. And I have a con coming up in Stamford, Connecticut. And that con is StokerCon, which is the annual convention of the Horror Writers Association. Super fun. Going to meet a lot of horror writers. Hang out. And that means we have to get ahead on the podcast. So next week, next Wednesday, is going to be a long episode. I will be reading 2 episodes of Slay, reading those live. And that way, when we're at StokerCon, we'll get to do one live stream and hang out with y'all, hopefully, if the internet cooperates and internet access cooperates. But tonight's episode will go into Sunday's feed, and the next Wednesday's episode, the first half will go into that Sunday's feed, and the second half will go into the following Sunday's feed. On top of that, A and I are going to be talking on Deep Cuts after the double episode of Slay. We'll be giving you Empty Sets summer movie preview. That's a lot of fun stuff. So clear your schedule for about an hour and a half, who knows, next Wednesday and hang out. And if you can't make it, that's cool. Watch the broadcast after the fact or just check out everything in the podcast feed. It is all good. I see John Bivens in the house, Big Nasty in the house. Yeah, Don, too far. I understand. Yeah, we are stokered for Stoker Con. Steve, the iceberg, Ricky Berg. Hopefully the voice holds out today. Revis, how you doing, man? Good afternoon, listening from Central Cali. Let's do this. I love it. Sandy Baltzer in the house. Mom Baltz checking from Sheboygan, Michigan. My other mother, Sandy, in the house. Fantastic. Sandy, Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD's in the house here. I haven't seen Rob Otto yet. Don't know if he's coming out tonight or not, but he's got some naughty business going on. You never know with Rob. You never know what's going on. There's all kinds of fun stuff. Anyways, I was practicing my voices before the show. So hopefully my voice holds out very well for this. Brian Leach, you are going to overdose 100% because they are two action-packed, dramatic, character arc moving episodes. Things are going to get nuts. Jeffrey Sylvester bowing to the Dark Overlord. I bow right back to you. How you doing? Oh my goodness. Wonderful. Got new people coming in. So wonderful. So great. Big crowd on YouTube today. So I'll say it again. If you're visiting me on YouTube, click like, ring that bell so you get notified of upcoming episodes. And of course, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. It is a good thing. Kim Hansen in the house. How you doing? That's right. Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, and Abby Pearl, PhD, are moving back to the wonderful state of Michigan. Cobalt, you can go to StokerCon. Excuse me. It's a little pricey, I think, at this point, but lots of panels on horror authors and whatnot. Really kind of need to be into horror books a lot to go to StokerCon. Otherwise, the dealer room's cool, but not that big, but like go for a day or go for a panel or one or two or fun. It can be very fun. Trent Daniels from Ohio. What's going on, man? Good to see you in here. Oh my goodness. So many lovely people filtering in. Looks like we're going to have a great crowd. Got a great crowd this week. It's going to be great. I think you guys are going to like this episode. Rob and I decided to introduce a new point of view character, or POV character, as those in the know. And it's one of my favorite characters in the series, and I won't tell you who it is. You're just going to have to find out for yourself. But really one of fun, super fun favorite character of mine. All right, let's get to main. Let's get rid of that. Let's get the old Slay lower third up. Sean, if you, basically it's a con, it primarily benefits those who want to write fiction and or equally diehard horror fiction fans. Write horror fiction, diehard horror fiction fans. It can be pretty fun, but it's a very niche. It's a very specific con. So look at me. I'm like, one does not just go to StokerCon. All right. Daryl Harris in the house. Pam Weber in the house. All right, ladies and germs, let's get ready to rumble. Good to know the sound is sounding good. Let's get rid of that. Let's set up, make sure we're recording. Double check. Checkity check. Got it. And away we go. Previously on Slay. Renowned hitman Icepick is hunting for Dante Oganov, and he doesn't give a damn who he has to hurt to get that task done. After coming up short searching for Dante in Lumencia, Icepick threatened Dylan Cantrell to give up information on the former Miami drug lord. Icepick has moved on from those he thinks might be Dante's friends to those he knows are Dante's enemies. In particular, Callista, who Dante tried to have killed back in Slay Book 1. Icepick is at Callista's club, hoping for an audience with her so he can ask about the tracksuit-wearing goblin. Will the Queen of Fire talk to him? If so, he'll need to get through Callista's first line of defense. Gariginald, Gary, Satyr, the club's highly efficient, slightly judgmental, and altogether snooty club manager. And now, episode 97 of Slay. A ginger ale and lime, Gariginald said. Lincoln, are you sure you wouldn't like something less virtuous? The man had always been hesitant to drink alcohol in the club, but he had never been here on a date before. Considering the appearance of said date, Gariginald felt an urge to help Lincoln be more cosmopolitan. To say she was out of Lincoln's league was an understatement. Thanks, Gary, but I'm good, Lincoln said. My lovely friend here will take another round, though, as long as it's on the house. The woman, Hasherame was her name, faced forward. She did not make eye contact with Gariginald. That was her prerogative, as he knew, sometimes, his non-human eyes bothered some people. Of course, Gariginald said. Samantha, another ginger ale and lime for Mr. Franks and a fresh ace of spades for the lady. 2 of the latter for me, on a silver tray, if you please. Samantha, who was quite attractive herself, at least by human standards, smiled and got to work. She was a good bartender. Gariginald had trained her himself. She poured the champagne for Hasherame first. Shit looks expensive, Lincoln said. That gold bottle is fancy as fuck. Gariginald drew in a slow breath before speaking. For all of Lincoln's crass nature and low-class upbringing, he meant well. Armand Dubranic Brute Gold is one of our more elegant offerings, Gariginald said. We cater to patrons of refined taste, though some, I dare say, have yet to expand their palate. That, finally, drew Hasherame's attention. She caught the subtle dig and fixed Gariginald with a fast, cold glare over her tattooed shoulder before again facing forward to, apparently, study the many illuminated bottles on the bar's back wall. Lincoln, unsurprisingly, did not detect the sarcasm. He eyed the champagne fizzing in Hasherame's glass like he didn't trust it. Interesting, he said. Hey, out of curiosity, you guys got any Nini here? Sorry, I thought I'd paste down the pronunciation, so I'll have to wing it. Nia Savalimalarda. The purple swill smelled and tasted like bleach. Did Lincoln think the club was a low-rent snake pit in the Mideast? What was he going to ask for next? Perhaps a Bud Light? Perish the thought. Intentional or not, Gariginald's tolerance for insult was not limitless. I fear our cellar is devoid of that particular regional obscurity. You might find it at an establishment which features mechanical bulls. Another over-the-shoulder glare from Hasherame, there, then gone. Gariginald decided to ease off on his commentary. Lincoln, is there anything else I might provide for you? He had a sudden fear the man might ask if a tractor pull could be arranged. Nah, we're good, Lincoln said. Unless you can do something about this music. I've heard elephant splatter farts that sounded better. Gariginald took in another slow breath. Lincoln Franks could be so cruel, in that way only the obliviously honest and sadly uncultured could be. Some AC/DC, maybe, Lincoln said, hope in his voice. Jelly roll? Beartooth. What, in the name of Dionysus, was a bear tooth? A folksy blues troubadour, perhaps. Gariginald had never heard of any of those acts, but he assumed that they paired nicely with carnival food, fireworks, and oversized pickup trucks. Alas, our playlist was selected for ears slightly less rural, Gariginald said. Perhaps next time. Assuming, naturally, that said next time came after Gariginald was dead and maggots were feasting on his corpse. Lincoln nodded. Yeah, I figured. Thanks for checking in on us, big guy. A sincere thank you. Gariginald did not get those as often as he should. Some people weren't as appreciative as Lincoln was. Perhaps the man in gray was a bit parochial and more than a bit crass, but he meant well. Gariginald took the silver tray with 2 glasses off the bar. Samantha smiled at him. Gariginald did not smile back. One did not smile at employees. Very well, Lincoln, he said. Samantha, should our guests desire anything else, do ensure they are indulged, within reason, of course. Enjoy your evening, Lincoln. Carefully, and with the confidence born of long years of service, Gariginald carried the tray toward the dance floor. Mistress abused the man in gray. That was her prerogative. She was the mistress, after all. Gariginald had pledged his undying loyalty to her, pledged his life itself long ago. He didn't have to like her decisions, he merely had to support them. Gariginald was Callista's manservant. He wanted nothing more out of life, and nothing less. While Lincoln Franks had many wonderful qualities, his taste in music left much to be desired. He'd commented that the current song sucked without knowing it was Gariginald himself, known in house, techno, tech house, and neo-rave circles as DJ Gary Clovenhoof, who had written the sick beats that now infused pure auditory energy throughout the club. Perhaps Lincoln had no taste in music, but the sweat generated by DJ Gary's tracks proved their intensity and their quality. The club's clientele certainly didn't complain, as they were too busy writhing, undulating, and damn near fornicating right there on the dance floor. In the shadowy booths, some were doing just that. The post-closing cleanup was never pleasant, but that's what halflings were for. A new song came on, also penned and produced by DJ Gary Clovenhoof. Fuzzy Booty Bounce Time made the most of the Function 1 F221 subwoofers Gariginald had helped install himself. The dance floor shook. This track went hard. A certified banger, if Gariginald dare be so bold as to comment upon his own artistry. Lincoln's plebeian musical taste could be forgiven, though. He had fought to protect Callista. Fought hard, right alongside Gariginald, Robert, Mercutio, and Callista's last round of club kids willing to fight and die for her. Those kids had died, cut down by Dante Oganov's forces. The battle bathed the club in blood. Robert almost died. Gariginald had killed a man with a trident before being cut, quite badly, thank you very much, and almost bleeding to death himself. Gariginald, Robert, Mercutio, and, yes, Mistress Callista would have perished had it not been for Lincoln's bravery. For Lincoln's brutality. Oh, but could that man fight? He was a conductor in a symphony of violence. He was a conductor in a symphony of death, using his hatchet, his sword, his guns, and gauntleted fists as his baton. In 7 centuries of life, Gariginald had seen few who matched Lincoln's savage nature. A brutish maestro, wielding violence with the poise of a Bolshoi soloist. The crowd parted for Gary as he again approached Callista's throne. The patrons here appreciated his service to Mistress. They also knew that bumping into him and spilling the champagne he brought and spilling the champagne he brought her could result in, well, let's just call them unfortunate results. She saw him coming. Her eyes lit up the way they always did for him, the way that made him feel so special. And he was special, was he not? Few had the fortune of serving Callista. Fewer still held important positions of high regard, like Gariginald, Robert, and Mercutio did. "My darling satyr," Callista said. "Is our new party of interest still here?" Gariginald bowed and proffered his silver tray at the same time. Mercutio took the 2 champagne glasses. He gave one to Callista, kept the other for himself. "Yes, mistress." Gariginald stood straight. "The gentleman known as Icepick awaits an audience. Rather expectantly, I might add." Callista's gaze flicked to the corner shadows. She knew where the visitor was. Of course she did. She knew many things. "Did he bring me tribute?" Gariginald had asked the new visitor the same question because it was an obvious question. Who requests an audience with a goddess like Callista and doesn't bring offerings? Honestly. "He did not, mistress," Gariginald said. Though I suspect the oversight owes more to provincial ignorance than willful insolence." Callista looked to Mercutio, extended her hand for him to kiss. "Mercutio, darling, do you think I should let this Icepick speak with me?" He took her hand and kissed each fingertip. "Icepick is dangerous, mistress," Mercutio said. "Some believe he is as deadly as the man in gray and finish the job Johnson." Behind the throne, Robert let out a derisive huff. "Lincoln is tougher than both combined," the Minotaur said. "He could wipe the floor with both of those Rudy Poos." Gariginald knew Robert respected Lincoln long before the fight against Dante's invasion force. After that altercation, though, the Minotaur's appreciation for the man in gray went up considerably. Robert saved Lincoln from dying at the hands of the Flechette sisters. Lincoln had quickly returned the favor when Robert was struck down on the dance floor. "Robert, you are voicing your opinion again," Callista said. "When I want your advice, I will ask for it." The rebuke didn't bother Robert. He, like Gariginald, like Mercutio, had pledged his life to Callista. "I think we pass this time," Mercutio said. "Let him come back again, bearing gifts as befits a person of your elevated nature." Callista considered this, again peering over the dancers' heads to the dark corner booth where Icepick sat. "I believe Mercutio has the right of it," she said. "Gariginald, kindly instruct Mr. Pick in the ways of proper etiquette. And Robert?" The big Minotaur leaned forward over the back of the throne. "Yes, mistress?" "Keep an eye on this," Callista said. "If this Icepick should take offense, ensure that my Gariginald is not harmed." The Minotaur stood straight. "Don't you worry, mistress." He winked one big black eye at Gariginald. "I got Gary's back." The genuine intention warmed Gariginald's heart. He turned and again crossed the dance floor, the dancers again parting for him. They didn't move out of fear. They moved out of respect. That's what the behavior was. Respect for Callista, and by extension, respect for Gariginald. How far he had come. If he could go back in time and tell his younger self how things would turn out. The black plague of his childhood and the burnings of his people were so far in the past that sometimes it was hard to remember the constant fear and ever-present hatred. But those days no longer mattered. Gariginald had a home here. He had status here. He had people who looked out for him. He stepped off the floor and walked to Icepick's booth. The man sat there, one foot on the red velvet bench seat. How uncouth. Like Lincoln, the man drank a ginger ale and lime. How interesting, neither of them wanted alcohol that evening. It was time for this man to leave. Mr. Icepick, I regret to inform you that Callista's schedule is dreadfully full, the goat man said. Perhaps you might stop by some other time. Might I suggest returning tomorrow, ideally bearing something shiny and valuable? Dreadfully full? She sat on that throne like a haughty empress, too important for the little people, which Icepick apparently was. She had seen Frank's, but not him? Icepick wondered if he could put a stiletto through her eye from here, because it would be child's play to make an example of this ridiculous satyr dressed in half a tuxedo. A quick breath in, a quick breath out. Reacting with anger wouldn't help anything. Satyr, he was just doing his job, Icepick reminded himself. Best to not rough him up, especially with that monster minotaur standing behind Callista's throne, watching intently. Whipping the tar out of more of her people was no way to break the ice. Icepick sat up straighter, put his feet back on the floor beneath the table. Don't call me Mister, he said. I work for a living. The odd, rectangular pupil eyes narrowed slightly, in fatigue rather than anger, at least as far as Icepick could tell. How does one read a satyr's emotions? But of course, Icepick, Gariginald said. May I see you out? He'd put a pause between Ice and Pick, as if they were a first name and a last name. Why was it so flaming hard for people to get his name right? Fine, Icepick slid out of the booth. Let's go. He followed Gariginald to the long hallway that led to the main entrance. The sea of white-clad beauties gave way. No one seemed to care that Gariginald had fucking goat legs, not to mention the goat face, and the goat horns. Maybe the purblind in this place had a blanket spell thrown on them the instant they entered. Probably, considering no one seemed particularly disturbed by the giant minotaur behind the bar with his hands atop a double-bladed axe big enough to slice a cow in two. You recommend I bring something shiny and valuable, Icepick said. What would you suggest? He nearly had to shout to hear his own voice, yet he had a feeling Gariginald's ears were well attuned to the club's volume. Mistress likes rare things, Gariginald said. Magical curios, exquisite jewelry. Rubies are quite persuasive. And you, I suspect, are the sort who knows where to procure what polite society calls inadvisably acquired treasures. They reached the club's iron door. As Gariginald ran his hands along the door frame, temporarily suspending the protection spell, Icepick spoke to him. Does she understand that I bring news of a possible threat? Did you tell her what I told you? Oops, sorry. Did you tell her I told you that? Gariginald pulled the door inward. The alley's cool night air pulled in, providing some relief from the club's heat and the thick smell of perfume and sweat. One black-suited man sat with his back to a wall and a bag of ice on his crotch. The other one, the one who would need dental work, was nowhere to be seen. He had been replaced by 3 black-suited men all wearing sunglasses, all staring at Icepick as if he had done something wrong. "Yes, I told her," the goat man said. "Random, unspecified dangers are something that we deal with quite regularly here, Icepick. If you would care to give me specifics, I can inform her of such so that she is prepared for your visit tomorrow evening." Icepick had wanted to keep his objective to himself until he could share it directly with Callista. He honestly hadn't anticipated she would keep him at arm's length. He had thought his reputation would get him an audience. Bad call. "I have reason to believe Dante Oganov is in Lumencia," he said. "If he is, he's a threat to Callista. Do any of you know anything about Oganov being in the city?" Gariginald paused for a moment. "That is a question you will need to take up with Mistress Callista," he said, "when you come back tomorrow night." The goat guy wouldn't budge. Icepick had played it all wrong, and now he would have to wait some 24 hours before he got another chance. "Thank you. You have been most helpful." He meant it to sound snide, but the goat man didn't seem to take offense. "One does try to remain useful, sir, even to the underprepared." Icepick briefly thought of telling Gariginald not to call him sir because he worked for a living, but he had a hunch that was exactly why Gariginald had used the word. Satyrs. Always so snooty, so proper. Icepick stepped outside. "Do enjoy the rest of your evening, Icepick," Gariginald said. "And if I might offer a gentle suggestion, kindly refrain from further injury to our staff. Poor treatment of the help makes Mistress Callista rather irritable. And I assure you, irritating her is not in your best interests. Good day, sir." The goat man started pushing the door shut, but Icepick's hand stopped it from closing. The security men stirred, their hands drifting into their coats to fetch sidearms. "Hold!" Gariginald said, the word carrying confidence and power. The security guys lowered their hands, but not their guard. They watched carefully. Their lucky day, or lucky night, anyway. Icepick didn't have to trash them for starting shit. "Icepick," Gariginald said, still pronouncing it as two words. "There is, at present, a significantly over-muscled minotaur approaching, one who has recently completed a regrettable number of filament-infused anabolic cycles. I recommend you depart before he attempts a hands-on intervention." While Icepick knew he could take that big fucker, it probably wouldn't come without some cost. But he didn't want to fight. "I am leaving. I forgot to give you something." He took his hand off the door, spinning a stiletto into his fingers in the same motion. "My calling card. If Callista changes her mind and wants to hear what I have to say before tomorrow, simply tap this against your palm. It knows how to contact me." Gariginald took the stiletto. "How delightfully efficient," he said. Then he shut the door. Icepick heard the bubbling bacon sound of the door seals being reactivated. So much for that effort. He would come back the next night and try again. He'd find some bauble or whatever to get him an audience. Maybe Vestinian could help with that. First, though, Callista wasn't the only one in Lumencia who had suffered run-ins with Dante Oganov. Dante had hired heavy-hitter mercs to help him against Callista. Icepick was still trying to reach Boss Hog and Oleus Oakbeard. Maybe Vestinian could help with that, too. There was still a couple of hours until sunrise. Icepick headed down the alley. He would drive down to the docks and see if returning fishing boats were selling fresh catch. Maybe some trout. Herbie loved trout. Icepick would snag an early breakfast with his best pal in the whole world, Then he would get back to work. He was going to find Dante Oganov. And this time, the goblin was not walking away. Hey, Nyoka. Welcome, welcome. Look at that. A normal-sized episode for once. 25 minutes. There you go. It's been, everything's been getting fat and girthy and juicy and bouncy and any other swole-up term you can think of. Look, I made the camera freeze. All right, you guys, that was episode 97. And again, next week, it's going to be episode 98 and episode 99. A whole lot of work. And I think Rob Otto's in the house. Rob, be ready for a very long episode to edit. Tyler Miller in the house. What's going on? Thank you, Kim. Kim says applause. I like it. I like it. Paul Carlson in the house, at least for a minute or two. What's up, y'all? That's right, Steve Rickenberg. More girth. Tyler, what's up is lots of fiction reading. And now we are going to talk about AI entering the world of publishing in a big way. I'm not sure if there's a big way or not, but we're going to talk about it. A is on her way up here. Let's make sure, oops, get rid of that shwarmy sound. Let's get that out of here, that out of here. Let's go ahead and get A's mic. Boom, back. That is going. There we go. Ready to go. Recluse Mage. I like them thick. I like them round. Bound to get you double up. Double up. There we go. And of course, since I read, I'm still not very good at the breathing, I got the gas. It's kind of a constant thing, the gas. It really is. Cobalt, Impending Doom. I will say the next two episodes, they're going to be a blast. You guys are going to have some that's a heroic moment thrills in your chestises. And I hope you guys dig it. And the next two episodes are just a setup for the giant set piece finale that is going to take over everything and dominate your minds for the rest of your lives. You will be sitting there on your deathbed going, oh my God, I'm so glad I got to hear those episodes live. Think of all the poor saps, the poor mortals who did not get to hear it live. And you can, you got that going for you, which is nice. Martin Evans told me some information this week I could not believe. Did you know Martin Evans designed the wave bass by BC Rich? It's so sick. It's so sick, the wave bass. Hold on, let me get you a coaster, baby. Excuse me. Here you go, Sugar Plum. You guys, I'm not going to lie. I was in a pretty poopy mood earlier today. Very poopy. A mood full of poop. And I was grumpy. I was probably grumpy to my phenomenal, fantastic wife, which I did apologize for being a poopy butt. But still, I feel bad. As a tiny man with far more anger than his little body can contain, these things happen from time to time. Cheers to all you guys. Recluse Mage, why so poopy? It's just a lot of stuff going on. A lot of, I'm working on GFL 7's final draft. And in going through it, Big John Viscara, who has edited that, reviewed it, has found a couple of plot holes and a couple of plot half circles, if you will. They're not really holes. So a lot of work to clean that up. So what I'd hoped to just get a bunch of word count done today, I largely spent 4 hours figuring out how to solve that little loop thing right there. So I get behind in the schedule and I get frustrated, and that's kind of what happens. Sweetie, your mic is on.
Howdy.
Howdy. Is that Pearl? Was that Pearl from Grand Ole Opry? Is that right?
I have to turn my mic.
Yeah, your headphones are the far dial. Remember, it's very subtle. Very subtle. While you do that, hey, everybody, look who's here. What?
Hello.
Aw.
It's not that subtle.
It's entry where? Oh, there it is. All right, let's try it again. Hey, everybody, look who's here.
Oh, and I popped up. Hello.
Nicely timed, sweetie. Nicely timed.
Unintentional.
Spike's in the house. We got all kinds of good people in the house. Oh. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
all right.
Guys.
So I would say this is a shorter episode, but tonight is basically the way it's supposed to go. 30 minutes, about 5 minutes me saying hey, 25 minutes me reading, and probably a half an hour of deep cuts because tomorrow's bonkers. Once again, let's go over it for those of you who just joined us. Next week is a double episode of Slay because A and I will be in Stamford, Connecticut a week from Wednesday for StokerCon. We need to get an episode in the can. Oh yeah. So that we have a high quality episode in the podcast feed when we are in Stamford. We're still hoping to do a live stream that a week from Wednesday.
That live stream will probably only be sort of deep cuts-ish.
Yes.
Like it won't be story because you will have heard the story next week.
Correct. No story. It probably won't even be deep cuts. We're probably just going to hang out. Just
vibe.
That means a week from tonight, a double episode of Slay, episode 98 and 99. I'm going to read them both live. And then A and I are going to do the deep cuts, which is the Empty Set Summer Movie Guide. We're going to talk about all the upcoming movies that we are interested in. So if there are movies you are interested in, jot those down, join us. And if we don't mention them in the chat room. It should be super, super fun. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready to get jiggy with it? Na 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 na.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't care what you say. It was a jam. That will always be a jam.
Here we go. Here we go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello,
Let's check it out.
Hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speak a little bit more, babe. In your normal voice.
Speaking a little bit more in my normal voice. About to do some deep cuts. Deep cuts.
It's gonna be okay.
What's happening?
Your waveform is much smaller than mine. Oh yeah. Do you guys? A sounds good in my ears. She sound good to you? Let's wait 1 second to make sure. I think you sound great, babe. Okay. Brian, yeah, Spike, you're going to want to do that. Chat room, A sounds good. A sounds low, high. Give me a little feedback real quick. I think you sound good, though. Sounds amazing. You do sound amazing, baby. I'm not being poopy now. You sound amazing. Great. Fantastic.
You definitely feel better.
No, I'm just hiding it well. I still got, a burning demon hatred wound up in my chest for some particular reason.
Fun fact, Scott is the human being that pointed out to me for some reason, I don't say demon unless I am consciously thinking about saying demon. I say demoned.
She always puts a D on it.
For reasons.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, everybody's happy to see you, baby. I think that's fantastic. And you sound good.
Howdy.
So we're very happy we got some of our sound gremlins worked out, at least for now. Who knows what's going to happen? You ready to rock?
I am.
Okay. Now I'm going to have to keep, I didn't plan well. I have to keep this over here. You guys, I need to get glasses. I need to get non-glare glasses because the screens that are 2 fucking feet away, I can't read.
And also 2 feet tall.
2 feet tall. I can't really read the text. If I put the text is here, if I put it all the way over in A's, I can't read it.
That's
like
okay,
this.
right there.
Why'd you say, Pedro? I can't read it. I can't read it.
I am giggling, but without my contacts, I can't see not even a foot in front of my face. So I can see that right there. Just
good,
fine.
perfect.
So that works out for both of us.
Sean says, demoned sounds like the verb form.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I never hear it unless
Lincoln demoned Callista into the next room. You ready to go?
I am.
Okay, here we go. Now, of course, this time for deep cuts. If you guys only came for the story, there's no more story from here on out. Tap out. But we would like you guys to join us. Ready, set that timer. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, Steve. We recorded all that, so I'm gonna delete all that. Go back. Recording, and we're good to go. And
alrighty.
Oh, here we go. Vanity press is a term for companies that take an author's money to help that author publish a book. Vanity presses have been around a long time. More often than not, they are predatory companies because the one rule of thumb in publishing is that money flows to the author, not away from the author. Well, now there's an AI-assisted vanity press called Spines, and Spines has a very modest goal for 2025 to publish 8,000 AI-assisted books. 8,000! A sure mark of hand-selected quality, I'm certain. How could Spines possibly achieve this goal?
We'll discuss right after this short break.
Welcome to Deep Cuts, the bonus episode of the Scott Sigler Slices Fiction Podcast, where a sci-fi author and an audiobook narrator discuss things and stuff in the world of fiction and pop culture. I am Scott Sigler, sci-fi horror author, known far and wide as the future Dark Overlord.
And I am A.B. Sigler, publisher and audiobook narrator. And tonight on this Deep Cuts, we're talking about AI-assisted book publishing.
Hold on one sec. Just got to take a quick peek at this. I don't know what's going on. Steve has to, no, we're both writing a tape. Talk normal for a sec, babe.
I'm talking normal for a sec. Do I look just tiny? Oh, look, I don't know what that was.
It's very strange. Well, when you talk into the mic, you a little more boost, but still.
Oh, but not much.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up a smidgen.
All right.
But we've got to make sure you don't blow it out. Talk a little bit more.
I'm talking a little bit more to make sure that we don't blow it out. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing that.
Look,
that's super. But we were at the same, like the last time.
I have no idea. I have no idea. It's a mystery. Let's get into it. Ready? A bonus reminder. A reminder, this is a bonus episode in the Scott Sigler Slices podcast, not part of any particular story. You don't have to listen to keep up on the current tale, but we do think you'll like this peek behind the storyteller curtain. So, you guys know we've talked a little bit about AI and how AI works in our tiny business. I've mentioned that I have to confirm by checking a box every time I publish anything at any print-on-demand or ebook publisher. I have to say, if I've made the tiniest of edits, nothing in this book is AI assisted. Nothing in this book was AI created. At the same time, if I submit my non-AI created book, which I also have to do for the audiobook, Amazon instantly offers me an AI audiobook. So it's coming for the world of publishing. We have one big story that we're going to talk about today, which is a publishing company called Spines. And there's a lot to talk about here. I will also say from the get-go, Spines believes they're doing something good. Mm-hmm. And I can see sort of where they're coming from. I also can see how this can be very readily abused. So I want to talk about that too. But first I want to say that next week we're going to be talking about what we're looking forward to this summer. Stories, movies, yeah, I can't. It's a big summer, dude. Big summer.
But just recently, the Chicago Times posted a list of summer reads, and the list this was actually reported by The Guardian. The Chicago Sun-Times confirmed that a summer reading list that they published included several recommendations for books that do not exist. And it was obviously created using artificial intelligence by a freelancer who worked for one of their content partners. Now, you guys already know this. There are regional papers that get content from a content provider of non-regional stories so that their reporters are not trying to cover the real big stories or a real big story that has erupted somewhere else. So the content provider, that's not so crazy. But whoever this was...
Well, the Chicago Sun-Times is a big paper.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big paper, and they, in most newsrooms, have been gutted 20, 15 years ago, 10 years ago at the most. Staffs have been slashed. All newspapers have suffered significantly because of the internet and losing all their advertising. So the staffs are thinner. So used to be people who checked everything. Everything was checked. Somebody submitted an article, they put it in there. Nobody bothered to do any proofreading or checking of it whatsoever. And you don't have movie desks anymore. You don't have book desks. You don't have movie desks. You don't have TV desks. People whose job was to report on the book industry or on the TV industry, et cetera. So somebody's just like, great, well, that's why we hired a freelancer who knows more about movies than we do, and just put it right in there, and busted by AI.
By AI. Now, here's the crazy thing. AI did several things. One, it made up whoever that, Howie. Let's call him Howie. I don't know if it's let's call it Howie. And it made up book titles by real authors. So it said something like Hurricane Season by Britt Bennett was coming out. Britt Bennett exists, but these are not books that are attached to them or exist in any way. At the same time, it published an accurate novel coming out by Ian McKeon totally accurate. Everything about it was accurate. But then there were a handful of things made up. My favorite part of this, which is going to lead into what we're going to talk about next,
Okay.
the not knowing what we don't know, is the article also included descriptions of each of those phony books and reasons why readers may enjoy them and comparing them to other books. Yeah. So one of the things about that is if one of the books that a completely AI generated book was compared to is a book that I read in the if you like this, you might like this, if I read it with my own face, I know it exists, I maybe will think the other one exists too. And that's kind of dangerous because I don't know what I don't know, which leads us to talk about spines. Spines is, hang on, let me scroll down. Sorry. Which leads us to talking about Spines. Spines is an AI-assisted self-publishing company. According to their own website, harnessing the power of cutting-edge AI, Spines revolutionizes every facet of the publishing journey, including proofreading, formatting, cover design, distribution, and marketing across all major platforms. And all you have to do is simply upload your manuscript and within days, watch it transform into a published masterpiece enjoyed by readers worldwide. Again, that's from their own website, and that's where I'm going to stop because we need to talk about it.
We got to talk about this. This is an issue that must be discussed. I mean, that's our new tagline. This is an issue that must be discussed. Real quick, is your Wi-Fi access on your phone? I forgot to turn mine off. We're getting a little bit of lag and delay.
My Wi-Fi is not, but should I turn my Bluetooth off?
No, just turn your Wi-Fi out. It was the only thing that draws on is Wi-Fi. Okay, cool. I'll get back into it. So as I said in the open, vanity publishers have been around a very long time. And everything Spines is pitching is literally verbatim from dozens of vanity publishers, some of whom are good and want to make a living, want to help people get the book out. Some of whom are vampiric and just want to grab the author's money and do jack shit. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like snake oil right out of the gate. I'm not casting any shade on the company, but it sounds like the same snake oil that I was tempted with 30 years ago when I was working on my first book, and you go and you like, oh my God, here's an ad. Look at this. These guys can help me put my book out. They can get my book into stores. Mm-hmm. They get my book to distributors, all of which was an absolute lie.
Anyone anywhere in the world could order my book.
Yes. Now, in the modern day, Spines is not alone. There are vanity publishers and publishers who tout this. We'll get your book into Amazon. We're going to get your book into Barnes & Noble, bro.
We're going to get you an ISBN number.
We're going to get you an ISBN number. Where the poor authors don't understand, they can do all of this shit themselves. They don't necessarily need to pay someone. That said, people's time is a precious commodity. Mm-hmm. If you want that book out and you want your book on Amazon and you've got the disposable income to pay someone else to do all that work for you, that's perfectly fine. There's no problem with what's going on there. What Spines does, though, they have a couple other steps involved, right, babe?
Yeah, and the big issue that I have here as somebody who struggles to get every step right every time as a human being, I would love some sort of AI assistant to help me keep all my ducks in a row. But for the life of me, I cannot figure out how I could upload a manuscript and within days, even if that's 30 days, and then you'd call it a month, that's too few days to do all of that to the best of my knowledge. And some of the big ones, the big concerns that I have are about an AI copy edit, because I think having just even seen it on the internet, it doesn't do nuance all that well. And so much about character building is nuance. Mm-hmm. And I think those are the things that would get missed. Those are the things that in your experience, you go back and forth with your editors with about things that you think are really important. I remember a couple of stories about how Infected ended. or Contagious began, one or the other, where you and the Shiv went back and forth.
Infected is a book written by me, Scott Ziegler. That's me. It's book one of the Infected trilogy. Contagious second book. Pandemic is the third book.
So I remember that was your 14 pages of notes. Was that book? Or was that Ancestor?
I believe that was 14 pages single spaced of notes for Pandemic.
For Pandemic, okay.
And I was very sad when I got that.
And quite a lot of that was nuance, where both the copy editor and then the writer, you guys went to battle about these little tiny changes that would build the character the way you wanted to build the character and the way it would be received. And that's the thing I think is going to be missing.
So I know you've got content ready to go here to discuss this, but let me just walk through the process, and you have read more about spines than I have. Answer this question. So author writes a manuscript, right? We agree. That is, and an author uploads a manuscript. As far as we know with spines, depending on your price point level, and we'll go over that in a little bit, then comes the initial developmental edit. A lot of vanity presses don't do developmental edits. That's what Big John Viscar does for us. Goes through and says, okay, well, Scott, you got this wrong and you got this plot hole, so you got to come back and rework this business right here. Does Spines do a developmental edit?
My understanding is Spines will do all of that, and they will do it what they're calling, was it human AI assisted?
Human assisted AI, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that a human will go over whatever AI puts out, but again, I don't know how you do that with a nuance at all without actually reading all of those words.
So that is the most complicated part of what you would use AI for, is the developmental edit, which requires an overall comprehension of the manuscript, an understanding of what the author is trying to communicate in the manuscript, and then the ability to say, like, I see you got A, B, and C, but D's wrong, E's good, F's bad, you're going to have to come back and rework, and here's how you might rework all of that. Asking AI to do that that's a big ask of AI at this particular point in time. If you're writing nonfiction, maybe not so much. That's not quite as, because in nonfiction, AI can go out and research all the crap for you and say, you forgot about this, and how this is how yeast was made, and this is how bread was developed, and this is where beer came from. Add all of this in. So there's a lot to add there. But once you get the developmental edit, right, then you get a rewrite, and then you get the copy edit. Now, does Spines do the copy edit?
I believe that they will soup to nuts do every one of those. They'll do a developmental edit. They'll do a copy edit. They'll do a proofread. They will market your book. They'll create a cover for your book. They'll catalog your book. They'll do everything for your book. So I do believe that they do take that and jump off from there. But I feel like the inability to argue back and forth, I think, would be to the detriment of the book. I will also point out that they have no timeline or price point differential for fiction or nonfiction. So I wonder about where that comes from.
Yeah, me too. Let's take a look at actually their price point level. Now, when you start out with, their goal is 8,000 books this year. Get your calculators out, because here we go. If you want the Paramount feature, that is $4,500, marked down from $6,000, you guys. Fucking bargain central. You always have to, every element of this is Tech Bro 101. Let's get our company together. Let's put up a website. Let's push all of the endorphin buttons of the customer. Let's get people into the funnel, everybody, and let's sell, sell, sell. So they have listed their price at $6,000 for their premier service, which is now conveniently marked down to $4,500. Then the signature service, which is best for, what does that say? Best for your needs. Keep in mind, I just called up their webpage. They have no idea what my needs are, but the best for my needs are signature, which is $3,300, marked down $1,000, you guys, $2,300. And then the essential, the basics of it, which is $2,000 and now is $1,200. But let's just, do you want to go over the differences in the price points?
I do, but I need to take a quick break.
Oh, we need a quick break.
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. If you have a moment to listen to these ads, it really helps the podcast.
Let me go check my phone. Oh, let me check my phone. I might have forgotten to turn mine off. I left it out of the room, which I thought was an accomplishment.
Apparently, we're having a little bit of lag.
Did you open this door when you came in?
No, I came in through that door, yes.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I want to know. Good. Because we're going to hear that air, but that's fine for deep cuts. I forgot to turn the fan off. That's why I'm asking. So I started reading. I'm like, I should go turn the fan off, but I didn't want to stop because I was on a roll. You know who Gariginald is, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Gariginald is modeled after Hetty from Ghosts. If you guys watch Ghosts, whoa, I'm going to love that. I love that woman. She's so great. Okay, ready to get back into it?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back to Deep Cuts.
Oops. I'm so sorry. I almost said I may be Sigler again.
Ready?
Yep.
Welcome back to Deep Cuts.
This episode, we're talking about AI-assisted book publishing.
Got a question from the chat room. Do you believe AI will help book authors develop more visuals who want to expand to a series or a movie of their books? We got to interrupt A's script here for a moment.
Yeah, that's great.
This is really an interesting question that William asked because there are absolutely certain elements of AI that are perfectly fine. They do take work away from someone else conceptually, right? For example, a copy editor or the line editor. Line editor goes through and does all your grammar checking for you. Microsoft Word has this. It's not very good, but you can hire someone for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to go through meticulously through your manuscript. And they have expertise in the Chicago Manual of Style, AP style, the way things are supposed to play on the page, and give you a bunch of feedback on that. AI can conceptually do that, and it takes work away from those people, but also like a basic grammatical check that you're never going to hire someone for. Things like that's a gray area of whether AI is okay to use or not. Once you get to visuals, however, once you get to book covers and images and character designs, if you're using AI to create images that you are going to use to help sell your book or worse, to put in your book, that art is being done because AI has integrated, digested, and copied the work out of many, many, many other artists. And those artists are not going to get paid for the years of dedication they have put into their craft because AI can just take it and be like, you know what, I make this I want to cover like Frank Frazetta. Make a Frank Frazetta cover for my fantasy novel. AI can do that in the drop of a hat. You can tell I like the Conan covers. Can you give me these 10 characters done up in that Conan style of oil publishing, oil art? They can do that. But that William, if you do that, you are, number one, opening yourself up to liability at this particular time. If you're putting actual art into something you're going to sell, that's a problem. Copyright is very fuzzy on that. You can get a lot of trouble and cause you problems. If you're using it for internal use, like we have some AI character sketches in our internal wiki, and I just need to see this person, I think that's probably okay. Mm-hmm. But I think the answer to your question is, if you want to use AI art to kind of crystallize the concepts, like this is what I'm going for, and then hand that over to an artist, and that artist gets paid to create an original work based on your intellectual property, I think that's a pretty decent workaround for everybody involved. But this bottom line, if you're planning on using AI to create images to put in a book, don't do it. If you're planning on using AI to create images to help sell your series, think very carefully about that, because eventually that work could wind up public facing.
So I do want to talk a little bit about AI, not exactly devil's advocate, but I do want to talk through this from I can understand how this can be very appealing perspective. If I am a person who has written what I believe to be a very good book, I have looked it up online, I have followed everything, I have joined critique groups on Facebook, I've done those things, and I think this has teeth, but I am also by day have a full-on career. I'm an attorney, I'm a whatever. So I don't have the time to go to conventions, do all that stuff. I do have the money. So, yeah, I will pay $5,000 and you will publish my book.
Okay.
Now, here is my question.
Okay.
That in itself, I have zero problem with. I also have zero problem. I have zero problem if somebody just wants their thing published. A vanity press will put your specific name on the cover of poetry of 50 people, things like that. If you want that and you know that it's just 1 or 2 books, that's fine too, but that's not mostly what they're selling, and that's my fear.
Yeah.
But I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Finish your thought.
I got distracted. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries. Okay. So, I was just saying, finish up your thought so I could go through the price point. Would you like to do that? You want to go on to another
go ahead.
question?
Go
Okay.
back to the price point.
Cool. All right, let's jump back in here. So to finish up, we told you to finish up the element. Gosh darn it, now I'm distracted too. To finish up our discussion about the price points, let's go over these price points that Spines offers and talk about what they provide. So for $1,200, which is not necessarily an unreasonable amount of money for people who have probably wanted all their life to publish a book, you get AI-powered grammar and spell checking tool. Great. It's probably better than words. It's probably pretty good. AI-powered cover design tool. Already we're in sketchy land, have no idea what that means. We don't know if the images they're drawing from to make the cover are non-registered, are copyright-free, etc. AI-powered formatting tool. I'm sure AI can format the book in a certain way. Understand if you tag like this is a chapter title, this is body copy, this is a pull quote, but that does take money out of the hands of people who do formatting for a living. Soft cover print on demand. This Amazon already does this.
Well, Amazon already does the one right before it.
Oh, does it?
Formatting,
oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Copyright protection. That is already, I can't believe they actually list this because that is the second you write something, you have the copyright on it. The second you publish something, it's game over. You've got the copyright. If somebody lifts that from you, you can enter into litigation based on it if you find it. But I don't know, maybe there's more to their copyright protection. Distribution through Amazon. How hard is that, babe?
That is not hard at all.
Not hard at all. Genre.
I mean, to be fair, to put a very fine point on it, distribution through Amazon, I could upload a Microsoft Word document of any length Scott Sigler novel, have Amazon format it for me and create a cover for me and publish it.
Yep. And we don't know if Amazon using AI for that. Genre and audience guidance. I fucking have no idea what that means. As someone who writes in the genre space, in the speculative fiction space, I'm going to guess this is a giant crock of bullshit because I don't know what they're going to tell somebody who doesn't put in the work to market their books and develop their audience. There's nothing anybody can tell you that's going to make an audience magically appear. First year of Connect membership, $300 included. Do you know what Connect membership is?
No, but we can click there and find out. I mean, that's their special whatever.
Can you read that to them?
It says metadata optimization, print on demand distribution through Amazon, marketing support and training, and monthly royalty reports and payments. So metadata optimization, that could be a lot, but my guess is that is them Googling what metadata would work best for books like yours or copying books in the same genre or, whatever you say your book is the most like. I'm not really sure though. But to be fair, that is a skill set that people crave for sure.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
But all the rest of them are.
It is absolutely sketchy. Their base level is sketchy. They will get you a book. They'll get it copy edited, get you a cover, get it in Amazon. Okay. For $1,200, that's not bad. Let's talk about the heavily discounted middle grade, which is again, best for your needs. Best for your needs. AI-powered, it's all the same stuff. AI-powered formatting tool, softcover, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook versions. I had not noticed that in an earlier discussion. Audiobook versions, which means what, darling?
It means AI-generated voices.
AI-generated voices. So right there, you're taking away from audiobook narrators, and I believe that within 5 years, AI-narrated audiobooks will be almost indiscernible from human-narrated, but right now, not so much. copyright protection, distribution through dozens of channels. So they actually have a price point where, hey, we'll put you on Amazon for this much, but for this much, dozens of channels. So you get on BNN, all this other stuff, which we do through BookBaby. Is that right? Yep.
Yeah, we do a lot of them directly, but there's also other aggregator sites that do it.
And
for
then
you.
first year of Elite membership, $500, metadata optimization, POD ebook, and audiobook distribution through dozens of channels, marketing support and training, monthly royalty. Okay, so that is absolutely snake oil. Weekly live support, no idea what that means. Could be good. And then you can do some add-ons based on that. And then let's just real quick cover their the Cadillac of their system. Expert grammar and spell checking book plus translation. We don't know exactly what that means.
Well, but it does. It is the first time it doesn't say AI. So I
Yes,
wonder
you're right.
if that's supposed if that means it's a human or not.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Custom cover designer, and I'm
See what I mean?
going to bet that means there's a human at Spines who will help you write prompts for AI to make your cover. AI-powered formatting tool, soft cover, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook, 8 versions, copyright protection, plus book translation. The book translation is very interesting. I don't know any details about that, so I'm not going to comment on it. Genre audience guidance, first year of Elite membership, first year of Translation Elite membership, $249.50 a year included, and flexible live support.
So I did want to bring up this specific point. So this is their Cadillac, as Scott said, their biggest tier thing. And I will say that all the way at the bottom for add-ons, the only things that you can add on at the bottom of their top tier are 2 things. One is a sentence and paragraph review, also called a copy edit. And the other one is expert proof listening. If you want a real human being to listen to the AI-generated audiobook and make adjustments. And what I wanted to point out is the sentence and paragraph review, also known as a copy edit. The last copy edit that we paid for Slay, was roughly that amount. Every book has to be 125,000 words or less at Spines, and our books are bigger than that. So if you adjust for that reasonably, that is what it would take to hire a real human being. So maybe at that price point, you pay for that.
I would like to point out, you guys, that my mother-in-law is in the chat room, and she says she loves all my books. So I believe she is a valid source, a source of expertise. She really knows her business.
So we wanted to point this out. I will say they made a big splash back at the end of last year saying Spines is going to publish 8,000 AI-assisted books. Again, these are real authors coming to them, getting their book to market using AI-assisted tools. They are currently around 2,400 books, and we're almost in June. 2,800
in June. And that's probably behind, knowing how a lot of these websites and these startups work, they're not updating this website on the drop of a hat. And right now it's at 2,800. So that's probably a little bit dated. Now it's really important that, and I make a significant focal point to say, we are not shitting on the authors who want to use this service. I fought my ass off to get published, and I absolutely contacted several vanity publishers way back when I was a baby author because I didn't know. I had no idea. I saw an ad, I'm like, Publishers Weekly, I'm like, you guys can get my book out? This is amazing. And I called them and I'm like, wow, it's going to cost like $4,000. And this, of course, was like back in like 94. And it was a significant amount of money, but it's so compelling as someone who wants to write and doesn't have the time and or the patience to be in the trenches every day, slugging it out in the publishing industry, going to cons, emailing people, sending manuscripts, enduring the constant rejection of everybody telling you you're not good enough to do it. A company like Spines, a vanity publisher, is extremely compelling. So that's one angle. The other angle is there are some people who just want their goddamn book out, and they hire a vanity publisher to get the book out, and they're happy.
I am surprised that my opinion on this has changed over time. And what I mean by that is there are absolutely people who just want their book. They want to hold their book, put it on their bookshelf, and give it to everybody at the holidays. That's what they want. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And why I ever thought otherwise, I don't understand. But my opinion has changed about this. I think it's fine if that's what you want. I think what I mean to say is it's fine if that's what you want, and if these same companies aren't selling snake oil to someone else. And that's the danger, because I think people who have the money to buy the snake oil might do that, might buy it because they can. And that's still not really ethically great to do.
I will have said there's a third level of vanity publishing that I think works well for people who like this stuff. And that is if you are a subject matter expert. Like, I know more about carburetors than anybody else on the planet, and I'm going to write a book about carburetors. And the purpose of my book is so that when I want to go speak at the carburetor convention and the auto convention, I want to be the Detroit Auto Show, I can send, hey, look, I wrote this book. Here it is. I'll bring free copies of the book, or you buy copies of the book, get my speaking fee for free. That's a whole separate, the nonfiction subject matter expertise market is a completely different thing. And for people whose primary revenue stream is speaking opportunities, using a vanity publisher to say, I've got a book and the book is now my calling card. Not a calling card, here's my book. People say like, whoa, you must be an expert, bro. And they bring them in. That has been going on for 50 years.
Sure.
It frankly, I think it works great. And frankly, everybody's happy in that space. So for a customer like that, Spines could be pretty good.
Yeah. And I think I said at the top of the hour, they do give you a lot of independence and will be the vehicle by which you self-publish if that's what you choose. I just think AI is AI is AI, and unless you are training it on your own, if you're training, I think it's not going to work to do what you want it to do, which is to to pull your voice out of a rough draft kind of thing. But I've been wrong before.
I have to point out in the chat room. Now, when I say in the chat room, if you're listening to this podcast, we do this live every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can join us and be part of the chat at facebook.com/Scott Sigler, twitch.tv/Scott Sigler, or youtube.com/Scott Sigler. And of course, that is SCOTT-SIGLER. My brother-in-law is in the chat room and says, Marianne Radulski, which is my mother-in-law, she loves my book too. So I understand, Jude. I can't argue with that.
We're going to see Jude very, very soon.
Can't argue with that.
In the Stamford, Connecticut.
Now, do you want to segue into this, or do you have another thing to talk about? I don't want to jump on your schedule.
I think we can sort of wrap up from here. We don't even need to speak about this.
Let's cover that real quick. Okay, so come back in. So we have, for those watching at home, we've got the screen up for a site called Book Scouter, which lists many different kinds of books, ways to search books, but we search for books by Spines. And now we are looking at actual books that are on Amazon. And A and I have looked at several books, and they have 0 reviews, 6 reviews, 7 reviews. I haven't seen a real significant hit out of Spines yet. But again, we only took a cursory glance. We didn't really go into it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Taking Advantage of Your Crisis by Christian Vaughn. Don't know what that book is about because this site doesn't list it. From the top to the bottom, a true story. This is somebody who flies planes, and it's probably a true story about their flying planes, learning to fly. Here's a typical one we're talking about with the speaker guild type people. The Brilliance of Branding, Unlocking the Power of Brand Brilliance. Oh my God. Slither said, I got to read it again. The Brilliance of Branding, Unlocking the Power of Brand Brilliance. I'm sorry, I got to do this one more time. This is why you have to watch out for companies like Spines. This is by a gentleman named Doro M. Angelo. I have no idea if the content is great, if it's bad. The Brilliance of Branding, Unlocking the Power of Brand Brilliance, Strategies for Business and Personal Success. Now, one would think an AI maestro would say, don't put 2 colons in one sentence or one title back to back, but they do. And there's books like The Eyes of a Fighter and Raquel and Evelyn Tough.
From a self-publishing standpoint, if you want a vanity press standpoint, I can see how this is compelling.
Mm-hmm. There's no question. And what we're also looking at, as AI is already become synonymous with, hey, this is high tech, people now who really understand what AI is in the world of books, in the world of fiction, nonfiction, are probably never going to be into this. Then there's people a step down who understand what it is and be like, you know what? I understand this isn't great, but this is the shortest distance to me getting to my goal. We'll do this. But there are so many people, the majority of people, who don't understand the nuances of what this is, don't understand this is taking money out of the pockets of people who have trained their whole lives to be editors, to be cover designers, to be developmental content editors, who are just gonna be like, this is the cheapest solution out there, and they'll get my stuff right on Amazon. Isn't this great?
And it's going to potentially risk your cover that was designed using AI losing a lawsuit and having to be remade and having to put out a second edition of a book that sold 15 copies, kind of things like that. We don't know how that's going to end up yet. So I agree with Scott. I think 5 years from now, the world of publishing will look a lot different with regard to AI. But right now, you risk that looking exactly like a vanity self-published book. And if your story is good and you do the work to get it in front of the right people right now, that is the better option for you, because that will go nowhere. I think that's my big fear. But who knows? This is an early adapter, so I think 5 years from now,
in the chat room, Brian Spagdabona says it's going to lead to the lazy people getting the easy way out that they want. He is correct, but also that is what vanity press publishing has been for decades. And I will put a caveat on that, Brian, that sometimes lazy is not synonymous with, I'm a single dad with 3 kids. I'm working 80 hours a week, but my God, I've always wanted to publish this book on carburetors. I know a lot. I'm never going to get to this.
Right.
I need some help. Can someone help me get my book out? That's not necessarily a lazy person taking shortcuts. It's a person at the end of the rope going, if I don't do this now, I'll never get this done. And I want this for myself. I can't be mad at those people. I can't hold it against those people that they don't want to give up one job and ignore their kids.
Or they can't,
to put in the kind of time I have put in. I guarantee you guys, if I had 3 kids, there's no way I would be where I'm at right now. There's simply no way. A big part of the reason for my particular career success is I have had all the time in the world to dedicate to these things at the expense of other things I shouldn't be spending time on. Absolutely. But people who don't have my particular privilege of time resource, I can't be mad at them. I can't be mad at them.
Of course. And I do want to make one more point, jumping off from something that Recluse Mage said in the chat room. There is licensed AI art creators where contributors have authorized and been paid for that work. There are several collectives that I know about that are starting to do that.
That's
where
wonderful.
It's the artists kind of pulling together and saying, yes, I contribute, learn from my work.
And get some.
And that, exactly. And this is like we've gone through this with digital music and stuff like that, where we will figure this out one way or another. But it is important to note that having the ability to have AI do all this doesn't give you the expertise, or AI the expertise to do this, by which I mean specifically you can have an AI creator do this, and my guess is that Spines is going to have some human being look at it or something. You'll have a project manager of some ilk, something like that, and I do think they hope to do a good job, but you won't know whether it's good or bad because you're not putting in the reps.
And you're inexperienced in the marketplace. You don't know whether it's good or bad. So my final, putting as much as 5 minutes into examining Spines, my final analysis is this is like the majority of vanity publishers. This is fucking snake oil. And yes, they can give you what you want. They can get your book on Amazon. And if that's what you want, if you want to get your book on Amazon as fast as possible, they absolutely can give you value for your money. If you think Spines is going to put out your book and that is going to lead to you having a career as a writer, you are sadly mistaken. Spines is built to take your money and continue to take your money as long as you want to put out books and give them more money. They will absolutely do that. And if that works for you, fabulous. Everybody wins.
Couple things. There are lots of vanity publishers who will do that for you as well, who don't use AI. And I don't know, because they did not offer this up without actually signing up. I don't know if their AI is all consented, but I'm
No
going
idea.
to assume it's not, because the preponderance of evidence would suggest it's not. I looked at their writer content people, and I looked at their their like tech people, because that's all listed, and they're it's an Israeli company. They're based obviously in Israel, and every one of those I think were Israeli people. So it's not like they have an editorial staff that is people who have been in the industry 30 years who are kind of eyes on. So I don't know if they have added all their own content or not, because I couldn't see that.
But based on their website, their price points, and the best value for you and things like that, I'm like, my recommendation at this point, absolutely avoid this. If you want to go with a vanity publisher, there are actual vanity publishers with people. Don't know if they're any better or not. If you are an author, fiction, nonfiction, poet, whatever you want to do, your time and money is better spent getting better aircraft and learning how to put these things out yourself. There is no shortcut for you learn how to put it up at Amazon. You learn how to put it up in Barnes & Noble. You learn how to hire an audiobook narrator and put out the audiobook. You learn how to go on ACX, Audible Self-Service, and partner with a narrator and split costs to put that out. You hold all the copyright. You are never going to be in trouble for doing it that way. You're never going to wind up getting surprised, and you're never going to get shortchanged. But, going back to our single dad with 3 kids, working 2 jobs, I can't say it's a bad spend. I just can't.
So we are wrapping up for today. I do want to remind you, at the top of the hour, we talked about the Chicago Times publishing a list, AI-generated list of summer hits to look out for. We're going to have our own opinions next week.
And next week is also a double episode of, oh shit, that's right. We're supposed to do this podcast. My bad. I fucked that up.
I think you mentioned it.
No, I did, but Steve, this part is recorded. We're trying to make these more evergreen, so I shouldn't be mentioning Slay. So you're right. You're right. I can't wait for the next episode where we talk about summer movies. There is one in particular. Oh my gosh, it gives me a nippy heart on. As a horror writer, I've always wanted to do a story like this, and I'm fucking delighted that someone made a movie of it, and I can't wait.
I have no idea what that is, so I can't wait either.
I'm so pumped. That is it for us for this episode of Deep Cuts. You all smell an awful lot like flowers. Goodbye. Great job, babe. Good job. Oops.
Ooh, there we go.
Save it. Quit it. Okay, now it's goof off time. The chat rooms.
I'm so sorry when you did that. It shocked me. Did you not feel it?
Oh, it shocked you, like electrical shocked you. Oh, so those of you guys at home, A and I have like several signals under the table. Don't get dirty. Don't get fucking dirty. That's my wife, you son of a bitch.
Okay.
We have like there's this means like finish up, take all the time you want. But, okay, so
if this is my thigh to my knee.
Yeah, do it slow.
He'll do this.
That means finish up. Don't be in a rush, but like get to the end of your thought. Don't do it fast.
And if he does this,
that means like finish up quickly. I have something important to say. I want a natural transition. Do the shoulder tap.
And then there's this kind of
stop it, goddamn it! What's wrong with you? We're gonna get sued.
And then there's the very gentle, very easy, just a little dink, like hey, kind of. I want to jump in.
Yeah,
it's time. Like no rush, no drama.
I want to jump in, but I don't want to interrupt.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just supposed to be like a little boop, like a boop. But when he did it today, it shocked. I'm wearing shorts, and so his skin touched my skin, and it shocked me, and I lost my whole thought. And I could see it in your face. You're like, "What is happening,
bro? We have a code. What are you doing?" And now, like,
but I thought you felt it too. So I was like, "Oh."
All right. Pam Weber says, "When is Crypt 2?" I'm pretty sure I'm going to get smacked about the face and midriff and torso with the copy edit of that at any moment. Can't tell you when it'll be out. Fairly certain it'll be out before the end of 2025. I will say, dare I say, dare I say it, the opening of Crypt 2, no one's ever fucking written anything like this in the fucking history of sci-fi. They can all suck it. It's mine. It's fucking mine. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be great. And it gets so messed up. It gets so messed up. So
also, I guess I should mention, since he mentioned StokerCon a handful of times, we'll be at StokerCon in Stamford, Connecticut, the weekend. I think it's June 12th through 15th-ish.
Don says we just have the love electricity. Yeah.
Well, it did not work. He got mad because I lost my train of thought.
I didn't get mad. Like a big part, like remember, we've been doing this for 5 years now, babe, something like that. This interactive, both of us on the mic. So we've had many off-camera discussions about why the fuck are you stomping on my line? I had a point and you jumped in like, okay, let's work on that. And also like, why did you go on for 25 minutes about this thing? So we have all the system. So when I did this and she just stopped, I'm like, but I wanted to hear I wanted you to finish your point, but be succinct about it so I can, and then she just did, she went.
Because and I thought he felt the shock and I didn't know what to do. And anyhow.
We got to have the other cam for this. Hold on. Okay, ready? Hold on. This is what I saw. Go ahead and like, blah, 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 blah. No, touch me.
Blah.
Touch me. Blah, 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 blah.
I don't think so.
That's what I saw when we were fucking on live TV.
Because it was shocking.
Okay.
Daryl Harris, that's so good to know about Sweetwater. We are big fans of Sweetwater. So absolutely next time we're in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Let's just roll through these comments. I want to read it. Daryl says, for musician Scott, next time you're in Michigan, Indiana, consider taking time to visit Sweetwater, Fort Wayne. Jenny and I stopped there this week when we were in the area, and it was nothing the ever expected. I would describe the place as Disney World for musicians. We thought there'd be a big store until we saw the museum area, meal areas, performance rooms. First of all, I want to go to Sweetwater to meet my sales guy, Dave Hess, who has absolutely taken care of not just me and my music. He's taken care of Empty Set every fucking step of the way. We've been customers for 10 years. There are very few, there's one salesperson in my life where I'm like, I love that sales guy. He's great. And we have spent a lot of fucking money with Sweetwater. So I want to go do that. David Lamb says, what about the book? You can't tell us the actual title or plot. Any updates? I can't tell you the title, right? I've mentioned it. It's called Warpath. I can't give you any details. I can't give you any dates, even though there is a date. Yeah, doll?
Do you want to remove this?
Oh, sure. You can just jump in and say I do. We're not. I gotta make sure I get the right one.
You do.
At least I haven't blocked anybody for a while.
He hasn't blocked anybody for quite a while.
That book, I
love you, June.
The Warpath was brutal to write. Dealing with the Hollywood industry is not a fun thing for any storyteller, but I'm really happy with what came out of it. And right now, what I can tell you is we are in yet another cover battle.
Yeah.
As an author, you write a book, especially in the world of speculative fiction, which is horror, sci-fi. You write a book, you give it to the publisher, and they immediately come back with a cover that has fucking absolutely nothing to do with the book that you wrote. Nothing at all. You're like, excuse me, Tor, there's no dragons in my book. And Tor will respond, yes, but dragons sell. So we're just going to go with a dragon on the cover.
And your book has a castle.
Yeah. So here's a castle. I'm like, this literally happened with Aliens Phalanx. Here's a castle and an alien. I'm like, there's no castles. Civilizations collapsed. They all live underground. How the fuck can you put a castle in there? Like, you know what, Scott? Castles sell. Don't you want your book to sell, Scott? Wait a minute. Don't you want your book to sell?
Fuck you.
Yes, I want my book to sell. I also don't want people to read my book and be like, hey, I'm on page 299 of 300. There's no fucking castle, bro. I bought the books out. So this is what we're doing right now with Warpath. It's a cover fight, which I'm already fully convinced I'm going to lose, and I'm going to lose badly. So when this book comes out, listen to the words that come out of my mouth, not the cover you see with your eyes. That's all I can tell you guys for now. Steve Rickenberg. It's almost like the publisher used AI. At this point, I'd fucking prefer AI because this particular publisher uses sorry, this particular publisher is well known for using clip art. They go fucking get a still, put some words on it, and go, here you go. Here is your elf halfling porn. I'm like, it's not. First of all, there's no porn. Second, no elves. Third, no halflings. Also, okay, I gotta respect that piece of clip art. That's impressive. This is what we're going through with Warpath right now. I got a little carried away on this.
I do. Sean Dyer points out this stream.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Sweet water. Because there's a hidden twat in there.
there's Tavat. Also, I'm listening to the new Joe Abercrombie novel, The Devils. Joe Abercrombie is my favorite author, and shit, I forgot the narrator's name, but the Joe Abercrombie novel read by Stephen Pacey is absolutely one of my great fucking joys in the world of entertainment. I listen to it at 1.0 speed. I don't speed it up. It's a treasure for me every time these things come out. And there's a character in like, but they all knew I had a twat. Why are they looking at my twat? And I'm like, I love this so much.
So but glad we're not recording anymore.
If you had spelled sweet twatter, that would have been okay. See, that Joe Abercrombie, he knows a lot of things about a lot of things.
Scott is enjoying The Devils so much that last night we had a genuine discussion about whether or not he should maybe try listening to it on 0.75 speed.
Absolutely. I'm like, usually I listen at 1.5. If the story is rote and predictable, but I'm enjoying it, 1.75. If the story is like, okay, listen, dude, I mean, this is okay, but you really didn't put in the wrench time on this, I go to 2 and get through it. So I can just hear how they, hear the craft and they get through the thing. But a story at 1.0 speed for me on Audible with this fucking crazy hyper brain is really slow. And I'm like, maybe I should put it at 1.75 and I can actually just stretch it out.
I will tell you, there was a time in the pandemic when I think Scott was churning through, I forget what genre it was or what books they were, but they were sort of, easy, absorbable, whatever. And so he was listening to them so fast that I genuinely had to ask, is this like an Alvin and the Chipmunks kind of a book? Like, what is happening there? Because it was so weird, so weirdly high-pitched and loud.
So, all right, now we're going to finish up and make sure I miss any quick questions in here. Michael Moore says, World War Z drives me crazy. Nothing like the book at all, except zombies. He's talking about the movie adaptation of the book. Yeah. You can't, that's an epistolary book, which is World War Z is like, it's just letters and emails back and forth between people. You can't make a movie out of that. I don't think. So they got to do something else. Brian DeBona says, are you doing any more short story books or any more short stories for other books? A lot of short stories coming out in 2025. I just had one in, what's the magazine? Weird Tales. 2 more scheduled for Weird Tales. Death is Black. Death is Black, A and I are planning and putting out hopefully sometime this year. That is a collection of 8 short stories of mine that have appeared somewhere else. It's 8 or 9, and somewhere in the ballpark.
But Brian, I know you listen to the podcast in fits and starts. You probably have heard all of Death is Black already. There is one more book in the color collection. It's called Rot is Green. And I think we're full up on that one too. So I don't know what we're going to do after that, but we'll figure it out because he's got a handful coming.
Yeah. A lot. So there are short stories coming out and I've got another right now. A and I are having a disagreement about, I wouldn't say we're having a discussion about another Weird Tale story for which a story I wrote called Red Man is absolutely perfect for it. And I haven't had a big audience with Red Man. So she wants me to do that. And I'm always like, yeah, but I could write something new though. Dog, I can.
He's got so much time.
Dog, here's the thing, man. Listen, I can. You know what? This shit will take 11 minutes. I'll knock this shit out. It's gonna be easy and knock it out.
I do have to say, full disclosure, Red Man is my absolute favorite piece of Sigler fiction that exists. It is my favorite Sigler thing that he's ever written.
I appreciate that. Also, I wrote that 20 years ago, so now I'm like, I haven't done anything important in 20 years. But that's how authors' brains work. Tyler Miller says, speaking of AI, no one can compare to the voice actor while talking like Glocta being toothless in The First Law. First Law is a Joe Abercrombie book. I warn you right now, if you get the audiobook of The First Law with Stephen Pacey reading Joe Abercrombie, you're I'm not responsible for the money you will lose and the time that will go right into the suck hole. But Glock is probably the single best character that Joe Abercrombie has ever written, and it's absolutely spectacular. So I'm enjoying the book I'm listening to. I'm trying to say is I'm enjoying it very much. Very much. Okay. Okay. Anything else, baby girl?
I don't have anything else.
Guys, next week is going to be a marathon. It is going to be a trial of endurance that only the most stalwart and deep-throated of the people are going to be able to complete. I may have to take a break in the middle of it to take a nap, which we'll have to... No, we're going to do a double episode. It's fucking balls to the wall all the way out. You guys, I can't tell you why. You've been waiting for some of this shit to happen the whole time Slay's been going on. It's going to be great. Recluse Mage, same start time next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday. What's the date, babe?
June 2nd, 3rd?
June 2nd.
Third?
June 2nd or
Second?
3rd. You know, it's a
Fourth?
Wednesday. You guys
Something like that.
can figure it out.
What is it?
What?
Oh, you don't know? I thought you were looking it up. I'm so sorry. I was sassing the whole time. You guys, give me a second.
She'll
Jeez
tell
Louise.
you. Yeah, Brian.
It's June 4th.
June 4th is a marathon night. Brian tries to avoid the story time right now, so we can just let's do it all at once. Asked if there will be deep cuts. Yes, there will be deep cuts. 2 Slay episodes and
2 Slay episodes or extra long Slay episodes, Slay story, and then our top 5 things we're looking forward to this summer out in the big wide world. Books, movies, whatever.
Oh, I thought it was just movies.
Or it's just movies.
It's just movies.
We just
it's
decided
the Empty
movies.
Set 2025 summer movie
Spectacular.
preview. It's going to be super fun because we will not have seen these movies. You guys will not have seen these movies. We're just going to geek out about shit I can't wait to see. And of course, A can't wait to see either. But A's movies are very erudite. A lot of acting in your movies. I'm more explosions, A's more acting. So let's see how this pans out.
We will.
Yep.
And we'll see if we see any of them this summer.
All right, guys.
We'll try. Oh, now we can go for cheap.
To the movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to tell them why we can go for cheap.
Okay.
It's at that point of life. Let's just say
He's working the AMC stubs hard.
we're working the AMC stubs. You know what? I didn't want to say in the podcast, I'm working the stubs hard. I didn't.
Reese's big mad that we're still on, so we should get off and take
All right,
her for a
guys.
walk.
Love
See
you
you
all.
next week, you guys.
Had a great time. Please come hang out next week, only next week, especially because